Hey yo, what is up and welcome to NinjaGeek Games. So I think this is my most anticipated video so far and I'm really excited to show you what I've got to unbox in this episode. Now I've been recently in contact with the guys from Jasco Games in Las Vegas. Now if you don't know who these guys are, you really need to check them out. They're responsible for some amazing products and games such as Universal Fighting System, which is a collectible card game that pits two players head to head using characters from popular universes such as Street Fighter, Soul Calibur and Mortal Kombat. There are huge international tournaments held for this popular game as well. Other games include Mega Man, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, an updated version of Albion's Legacy, not to mention a recent successful Kickstarter campaign for Street Fighter miniatures game. Now, if you ever get a chance to look at the miniatures for Street Fighter, then do it. They look more like collectible figures than models for a board game. And I'll show a link to their website up here. But seriously recommend checking out their games. Not only are their products incredible, but they themselves are genuinely really nice people. After chatting with them and watching live feeds, Jason is obviously close with his fan base, which is huge, and also goes out his way to help and support them, which is what we all want from a designer, right? Now, the game we're unboxing today is none other than Evil Dead 2, the board game, based on the cult classic movie, and what a movie it is. Here, Ash and friends are desperately running around a demon-filled cabin, working together to collect pages of the dreaded Necromonicon to send the demons back to whence they came. That is, until your buddies turn into vile, murderous monsters trying to collect the pages for their own dire needs. And this is through a hidden traitor mechanic. But we're going to talk about that later in a Learn to Play video. So grab your chainsaws and your boomstick and let's take a look inside this. Actually, after seeing what happened when the Necromonicon was opened in the film, I'm a little dubious with this. That will be fine. Oh, cool. Book made out of human skin. Groovy. So for the game box, the artwork is awesome, showing the Book of the Dead staring straight at you. When you open, the first thing you meet is the rule book. Gives you a component list, bits about the individual components themselves, setting up, and then obviously various gameplay actions. Here is how to play as a deadite once you get turned. This just outlines the map area, the board game area where you can and can't go, which areas are blocked off, just in case you get confused. An appendix for all the tokens, and a quick reference guide. This here shows the extras pack that you can get, and we have a copy of that, so we'll be looking at that in just a second. And this is the Buffy game that I mentioned earlier in the video. So the punch boards, there look to be 4 of these, and I'll just get them out of the way now. And I was going to lay the board out for you. So the board's of a decent size. It shows the cabin in detail here. I've got the work shed. This area up here is where the Necronomicon pages are placed during the game to seal the portal. Or here, if you are playing as a Deadite player. Within the cabin, that's the entrance to the cabin here. And it is just like the film where you've got the sitting room with the moose head on the wall. Trapdoor cellar here. And then the bedrooms. Here's the work shed, where I think he cuts his girlfriend's head off. These areas here are where certain items get placed and you have to run around scavenging in the game. And these blue areas are where deadites spawn in the game. It's a pretty big board. The artwork's really, really nice, clearly laid out. yeah, looking forward to playing on that. So for the punch boards, you get 6 of these player boards because the game is 3 to 6 player. They list all the tokens and items you can get in the game and what each one does. And the back of each board has the game name on. So there are 6 of those. These red tokens on the right hand side, they are wound tokens. This is all the items that you can get in the game. So we've got looks like whiskey or something. There's some barricades there. There's the necklace that he gave his girlfriend in the film. Pages of the book. These stakes down here, they form traps. This is the first player token. There's an axe, always come in handy, and obviously shotgun shells, and I believe that is the chainsaw. So these are nice, good, thick, quality punch board. The artwork is really, really good throughout. These are awesome. Now within the game box itself, you get these bosses here. This is the rotten apple head, I think. Bursts through the door and it's got all these faces downside. That is a quality model. That's quite thick plastic. That I'm going to look forward to placing that, painting that one. You have the dead tree, and I believe that has some roots so that it can pin opponents and drag them into its area and force them to stay there. These are the playing cards. We'll have a look at those in just a second. You get 3 dice in the game, and they have 3 sides on them each. So you have a side with a deadite icon, chainsaw icon, which is a success, and a blank icon, and each of the dice show them. And in this card box, I believe, are the miniatures. 3 bags of miniatures, quite a lot of them in here. So I'm just going to open those up now. So these are all the models you get in the game. There's loads of them. We've already spoken about the killer tree and the rotten apple head. Now the rotten apple head actually comes with 2 separate arms, and that enters the board as an entity, and these move around. You have Ash's hand. This is the demon of Henrietta. And you get like 28 deadites, which doesn't bode well for the heroes if there's that many on that board. And down here, these are the heroes, and each hero comes in its good form and its deadite form as well. So you've got Jake and Annie, Ed, Linda, Ash, and so these are the good forms, and down here these are the evil forms. So for Ash, for instance, you get that's his good form there with shotgun, boomstick, and his chainsaw. And in the demon form here. So they look pretty good. I look forward to painting those. I think I'll need to just make them more distinguishable on the board when they're being played. But they look awesome. The quality is pretty decent. I do like the deadites, and there are swarms of them, so I think it's going to get completely overrun at some point. So these are the cards you get with the game. There are 6 available heroes, each with their own stats for wounds, attacking, speed, and virtue. 4 bosses, so the rotten apple head, killer tree, the hand, and Henrietta. This artwork for Henrietta is brilliant, absolutely brilliant, just like from the film. These are the event cards, and they're drawn every turn, I think, and they let you know how many deadites are going to spawn that turn. Plus maybe an ongoing ability that may affect players for the whole turn. And these are the corruption cards, and I think you start with 1 each, and you're not allowed to look at it. And the only time you can look at the corruption cards is when you gain another one, and they let you know if you're a deadite or still human, and you can reveal it or not. And some abilities let people look at it, and they have to try and convince the other players that you are a deadite, or you convince them that they're lying and they're the deadite. So the hidden traitor mechanic here, I think, is going to be pretty awesome. Nobody's going to start trusting anyone during the game, which is going to be really fun. The artwork for the cards is awesome, as I said, especially for Henrietta. And these corruption cards, they just look really haunting. So looking forward to getting this to the table. So Jasco Games were kind enough to send the extras pack for Evil Dead. Let's have a look. It's quite a small box. That's the rule book, and it's rammed full of stuff. So we have lots and lots of miniatures, big bag of miniatures. We'll look at those in a second. Some more event cards in here, and here we look to have a a bad ash with a shotgun and a missing hand. And this is the gooseneck Henrietta. If you remember from the film, she mutates with this huge neck and starts trying to bite people. That's her there. So let's take a closer look at the models then. So these are all the models you get in the game. As mentioned, you get the gooseneck Henrietta. These here are shotgun and axes, and these barricades are just upgrades from the card tokens you get in the base game, which is awesome. They're going to look brilliantly painted on the board. You get some new bosses as well, which includes Bad Ash. You get the crazy deer head, if you remember, it was laughing in the film. And then you get these possessed deers as well. I think they're going to be running around, as well as two demons, and these are awesome. These are possessed squirrels, which are going to be running around chasing you as well. These look good. I think these quality of these miniatures are actually slightly better than the main game, especially Henrietta. She looks brilliant. Yeah, but they're just additions for the game, and you get cards to use them as well. So brilliant. These are the additional event cards you get in the extras pack. They can be shuffled into the main deck of event cards, and I think two of them here are transformations for the gooseneck Henrietta and for spawning the Bad Ash, as well as an extra boss at the end of the game. So I've just quickly set up the board and chucked some playing pieces on to show you how awesome it looks. You get that nostalgic feel from the cult classic film as well, because the board really does replicate that cabin. Swamped with deadites and monsters and bosses over here. Ash is trying to take on a few here. These dice are really nice. The upgrade tokens make the game just look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. And you've got these barricades as well that can barricade windows and doorways. You can actually move through doorways, I think, as well, but with the deadites only one can. So if he moved through here, these would just pile up. And also with the barriers as well, if someone's in the room, they will just all swarm into here next to the barricades. You can kind of filter them where you need to go and stop them moving around the cabin. Yeah, it just looks really, really good. Really impressed and really looking forward to playing this game. So that's the unboxing for Evil Dead 2, the board game by Jasco Games. The components are absolutely brilliant. I was really pleased with the amount of content in there. There are loads and loads of tokens. The player boards look great, and the punch boards are all really good quality, thick card. The models look brilliant. I really like the boss model, especially Henrietta. She looks absolutely fantastic. The board was the best part for me because it had a really nostalgic feel, and if you're a really big fan of the film like I am, I was really pleased with how that board looked. And the areas, they haven't got really thick white lines, so you can see them clearly. They're quite subtle, which is really good because it doesn't take any of the artwork away from the board, which I really liked. The extras pack adds even more monsters and upgrades from the card tokens as well, which is a really nice touch. I really do hope Jasco Games do a expansion for this. One that just popped into my head was to have a separate board for the cellar. So if you ever enter the cellar space, you can actually go down and then hop onto another board and play the game through the underground cellar, which I think would be really cool. So something to think about, Jasco Games. Now the awesome thing about this game as well is it was previously kickstarted by a completely different company, and after the campaign ended, they didn't deliver, and unfortunately a lot of backers lost their money, and personally, you know, a lot of faith in Kickstarter, which was a shame. However, Jasco Games completely revamped the Kickstarter, did it their own, and for everybody that had previously backed the from the previous company got a free game. And I just think that's absolutely incredible from a company to offer that. And it just shows what I was speaking about earlier with Jasco Games, you know, being really close to their fans and supporting in any way they can. And that just proves my point clearly. I don't know many other companies that would have done the same, but that was just absolutely brilliant for them. So hats off to Jasco Games for that. I will do a learn to play with this when lockdown's over. I just need some more people over to give it a go first. But it looks really good. I really like the traitor mechanic. I think that's going to cause a lot of distrust, some arguments, which will be really fun to do as well. And I think the game, as well as being a really nice game, I think it's going to have that that sort of like what you talk about after of what happened and the story you have with your friends talking about the game immediately after as well, which I think would be a really nice touch for that. So that's the unboxing for Evil Dead 2. If you really like this, have a look at Jasco Games online or their Facebook page as well. And if you like the contents of this video, please subscribe. It will be greatly appreciated. So this is NinjaGeek Games. Cheers.
Join us.